Some lessons in life arrive only after silence breaks you. Waiting for closure can quietly steal years of your peace. Understanding when to stop waiting is one of the most powerful forms of self-respect. Many people waste their strength hoping for apologies that never come. They believe healing depends on someone else's words. True growth begins when you realize your peace does not need permission. Letting go of expectations is not weakness. It is clarity, maturity, and emotional freedom. The moment you stop waiting, life finally starts moving forward. She lived in a small, quiet city where people noticed smiles but ignored pain. Her name was Sarah, and she was known for always understanding others. Few knew how often she stayed silent to keep peace. Sarah believed patience could fix everything. She believed love meant waiting and forgiving endlessly. She believed one day words would come that would heal her. There was a man in her life who mattered deeply, not because he stayed, but because he left questions behind. His silence spoke louder than his presence ever did. She replayed conversations in her mind every night, wondering what she did wrong, wondering what she could have said differently. Hope quietly exhausted her. Days passed, then months. Apologies never arrived, explanations never came. Only silence grew heavier. Sarah smiled in public and broke in private. She kept telling herself that good people wait, but waiting was slowly emptying her. One evening, something shifted inside her. She felt tired, not of loving, but of expecting. That tiredness felt honest. She asked herself a simple question: how long will I pause my life for words that may never come? That question changed everything. Sarah realized closure is not always given. Sometimes it is created, and sometimes silence itself is the answer. She stopped checking her phone. She stopped revisiting old memories. She chose rest over restlessness. The world did not collapse when she stopped waiting. In fact, it felt lighter. Breathing became easier. She focused on herself for the first time: her goals, her healing, her peace. Guilt slowly lost its grip. People noticed a difference in her. She spoke less about the past. Her eyes looked calmer. The man never returned with explanations, but his absence no longer controlled her emotions. Power had shifted quietly. Sarah learned that self-respect is choosing yourself without announcement. No drama, no revenge, no bitterness, just boundaries. She forgave without sending messages. She healed without apologies. She moved forward without looking back. For the first time, silence did not hurt her. It protected her, and that protection felt like freedom. Sarah slowly rebuilt her routine. Mornings became quieter and kinder. She stopped rushing her healing. She started writing her thoughts down, not to remember him, but to understand herself. Words became her therapy. Some days were harder than others. Memories still knocked without warning, but she no longer invited them in. She learned that missing someone does not mean needing them. Feelings can exist without control. That realization gave her strength. People around her noticed her growth. She laughed more freely. Her silence felt confident, not broken. Sarah stopped explaining her pain to people who never listened. She saved her energy. Peace became her priority. She realized how often she had minimized herself for others, how often she stayed quiet to avoid conflict. That awareness hurt, but it healed. Time passed, and with it, clarity arrived. She understood that love without respect slowly destroys the soul. No apology could change that truth. She stopped romanticizing potential. Reality became her guide. She chose what was, not what could have been. One day she saw his name unexpectedly. Her heart skipped, then settled. That moment confirmed her growth. She didn't feel anger. She didn't feel longing. She felt neutral, and neutrality felt powerful. Sarah understood that healing is not loud. It happens in moments when old triggers no longer control you. That day mattered. She invested in herself deeply. New goals replaced old worries. Purpose filled the empty spaces. People asked her how she moved on so quietly. She smiled and said nothing. Some journeys are not meant to be explained. She stopped waiting for validation. Her worth no longer depended on recognition. She knew who she was. Sarah forgave herself for waiting too long. Self-compassion softened old regrets. Growth requires kindness toward the past. She learned that silence is not always abandonment. Sometimes it is redirection. Sometimes it is protection. The man never apologized. He never explained. And surprisingly, that no longer mattered. Sarah no longer measured her healing by his actions. She measured it by her peace. That peace was undeniable. She became more selective with her time. Not everyone deserved access to her energy. Boundaries became natural. Late nights no longer felt heavy. Solitude became comforting. She enjoyed her own company. She realized that closure doesn't always come with answers. Sometimes it comes with acceptance. Acceptance freed her. Her confidence grew quietly. Not the loud kind that demands attention. The calm kind that commands respect. She stopped proving her worth. She stopped shrinking herself. She finally stood where she belonged. Sarah's life expanded when she released what held her back. Opportunities appeared where pain once lived. Healing created space. She met people who valued consistency, people who communicated honestly, people who respected boundaries. She no longer confused attention with care. Emotional maturity sharpened her choices. Her standards evolved. Looking back, she didn't regret loving deeply. She regretted abandoning herself. That lesson stayed with her. Sarah promised herself something important. She would never wait for someone to choose her again. She would choose herself first. Her story wasn't about heartbreak anymore. It was about resilience. Strength replaced sorrow. The silence that once hurt now felt distant. It no longer echoed inside her. It had lost its power. She realized that not every ending needs words. Some endings happen when you grow beyond them. Growth was her closure. Sarah smiled more genuinely now, not because life was perfect, but because she was at peace. She learned that emotional freedom is priceless. No apology could ever replace that. Peace became her reward. Her journey taught her something lasting. Waiting does not make love stronger. Self-respect does. Sarah walked forward without resentment, without bitterness, without looking back. She didn't need closure anymore. She had become it, and that was enough. Sometimes the strongest decision is to stop waiting. Not for an apology, not for an explanation, not for validation. When you choose yourself, life finally meets you halfway.